How's it going, ISM family? Here at Illinois Student Ministries, we give to missions and we live on mission. And we know we're supposed to do things like give money to missionaries and tell our friends about Jesus, but how exactly do we go about doing those things? How do we develop a heart for missions? Well, that's exactly why I recorded this conversation with our director, Pastor Chris Stanley. The goal of this conversation was to share the vision that we believe God has laid on our hearts when it comes to missions in the year 2021 and invite you guys in on what God is doing. We're so excited to see what God's going to do through us when it comes to missions in the new year, and we hope that this conversation gets you guys excited too. If you found this video or podcast helpful to you in any way, be sure to share it with a friend. Subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. And as always, to keep up with all of ISM's content, be sure to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And without any further ado, here's my conversation with Pastor Chris Stanley, all about missions in 2021.
When you think about missions and Illinois Student Ministries, we want it to be very diverse because missions is so much more than raising money for missionaries. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Missions is who we are. So when missions becomes who we are, then we give everything we can to it holistically. So the ministry that we create for missions in Illinois Student Ministries has to be a reflection of that. It can't just be myopic. It's just speed the light. You just give money to missionaries so that they can spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Well, praise God for that. We 100% need that, but we also need it to be supporting and supported by other facets of missions as well. So what does that look like? It looks like AIM, where our students will now have the ability to not just give to missions, but to experience missions and to go on foreign missions trips and to see some of the missionaries that they're supporting and giving these funds to see the people with their own eyes, to step on the soil that they are sending their money to, and that does something so powerful in the heart of a young person, to be able to go on a foreign missions trip, to see how other people are living outside of the Americanized context. And what does that do for your Speed the Light giving? Well, I think it gives energy to it, because now you're not just giving to a missionary, you're giving to all of those faces, you're giving to all of those communities that you've actually stepped foot in. You saw the tangible results of the gospel in action. You saw the tangible results of what your money was actually doing in Africa, in Europe, in Eurasia, in different places around the world where our missionaries are at. And I think that's powerful. So that's why we need AIM. Well, why do we need Youth Alive? And why do we consider Youth Alive missions? Well, first of all, I think you heard beautifully from Billy in his heart for Youth Alive. And if you didn't catch that interview, I would absolutely tell you guys to go back to it and just listen to Billy and his heart for Youth Alive. But my heart for Youth Alive is knit together with Billy, and it's not just about giving to missions. It's not just about experiencing missions, but it's the idea that we're all on mission as well, right? We are on mission to our campuses and to our communities. We know that in America, one of the greatest segments of unchurched and dechurched people exist within the American public school. And to be honest with you, it's not even just the public school, it's the private school as well. A lot of our Christian schools need Jesus probably more than some of our public schools do, right? Because they're living under the facade. So when it comes to Youth Alive and empowering our students, what we're doing is we're not trying to get the church into the school. We're trying to empower the church that already exists inside of the school. And so how does that help speed the light? Well, when you're on mission, you are seeing the results of the gospel changing people's lives right here in your community. And so now it makes it holistic. So, okay, is my money going to people who are spreading the gospel overseas? Yes. Okay, is it working? Is it a worthwhile investment? Well, 100% it is. But you want to know what bolsters that confidence in that investment is seeing that it's paying dividends here in America as well. The gospel is powerful for every single generation. It can change the hearts and the lives of people that are walking down the halls of your school. It did for me. And that's maybe why I'm so passionate about Youth Alive, is because I was reached in my high school years, right? I was a far gone kid who was making really stupid decisions, and I had a pastor's kid start presenting the gospel to me, and they reached out to me, and the gospel radically changed my life and changed my direction. And so when we think about missions in Illinois Student Ministries, it's speed the light, 100%. It's aim, going and experiencing missions, 100%. And it is Youth Alive, being on mission, 100%, right? So
all three of those feed into one another.
Oh, they do. And I'm really excited that now we have the opportunity to be launching forward at all three simultaneously, right? I think what we've seen is this incredible heart for Speed the Light in our district, and it's needed. And one of the things that our youth pastors and our students have proven is that if we plant a flag in the ground, they're going to pursue it, right? Like, we can set these goals for Speed the Light and for missions, and they're going to charge after it. And now that foundation is set, now that we know that our kids are about giving to missions, let's expand that out. Let's let them develop a little bit more of their muscles when it comes to missions. And I think that's incredibly important. Because at the end of the day, when we think about missions, particularly Speed the Light, let's talk about Speed the Light for a second, right? We need to think of it as discipleship, right? It's one thing to raise money for Speed the Light, but it's a completely different conversation when you're starting to talk about raising givers for Speed the Light. You can raise money for Speed the Light without raising givers for Speed the Light.
That's real.
But you cannot raise givers without raising money, right? And so I think that's why you'll hear me say this a lot when I'm talking to students or when I'm talking to our leaders, is that we're not trying to primarily raise money. What we're trying to do is we're trying to raise givers. So everything that we're doing in Illinois Student Ministries to kind of promote the heart of Speed the Light and missions is very knit to discipleship, right? It's not just raising funds because we know we're supposed to raise funds and we're supposed to chuck it overseas so that a missionary can spread the gospel. That's incredibly important, and your money and your financial gifts are absolutely making a difference. But we can't separate the gift that we are giving to missionaries from the heart that God is trying to build in our students, right? When we teach our students to own giving and come up with their own creative ideas to raise money for Speed the Light, what we're doing is we're saying, one, you can use your talents and gifts and abilities in real time right now to make a difference in somebody else's life, either right here in your community or on the other side of the world. Like, God gave you this certain unique set of talents and gifts and passions, and you steward those things by using them to be gospel forward and to say, okay, I'm really good at basketball. How can I use basketball to share the gospel? And I think we saw, Josh Heinzman, who's mediocre at basketball at best. I'm just kidding, Josh.
Just like his favorite basketball player.
Yeah, LeBron James, who is mediocre at best. But seriously, Josh is great, and LeBron is okay. But what we saw was Josh, he asked the question, right? Okay, this is something that I can do. I know how to shoot a basketball. I know how to shoot free throws. Okay, so how can I use that to raise money for people and to turn it into a moment where we can tell people about Jesus? Well, he just shot 1,000 free throws, or he decided to make 1,000 free throws, right? And people donated to him, and he made thousands of dollars for missions, and all he did was it wasn't exceptional. Was it exceptional? Sure, because he did it for an exceptional God, but nothing that he did was mind-blowing or difficult, or he just took a time during the day and he said, I'm going to take a basketball and I'm going to throw it into a hoop 1,000 times, and I'm going to tell people that it's because I'm trying to raise money for water wells. And students, here's what you need to know. When you do these things, people aren't giving you money to shoot a basketball. People are giving you money because they want to see this generation attached to a cause that's bigger than themselves, right? And so they were giving money to the water wells. They want to. You just gave them an outlet. Them an outlet, right? So whether it's babysitting or dog walking, we're getting a little bit of a snowstorm as we're filming right now. Can you go out and shovel driveways for Speed the Light? Can you jump rope for Speed the Light? My son and his friends literally just walked for 12 hours and raised something like $4,000 for Speed the Light. Like, if you think that it takes some grand gesture, some grand initiative to tap into people's want to give to you and want to give to mission, I think you're overcomplicating it. So when we talk about raising givers, what we're talking about those two things. One, you do have talents and gifts and abilities, and I want you to start thinking about how you can spread the gospel with those talents and gifts and abilities, because that's discipleship, right? Youth pastors, that's discipleship. And the second thing that I want you to understand is that when students own giving, what they're doing is they are holding on loosely to the things of this world, and they are holding on tightly to Jesus Christ. We are discipling that Jesus is enough into them, and I am going to holistically do everything that I possibly can to spread the gospel. I'm going to give my money. I'm going to give my time. I am going to give of my reputation and my comfort. And think about this. Like, this is all of the three facets of missions in Illinois Student Ministries. That's what we're talking about here. So when you're involved in Youth Alive, you are saying, I'm going to make my school my personal responsibility. It's not going to be my youth pastor's responsibility. It's not going to be my church's responsibility. It's not going to be the FCA guy's responsibility. It's not going to be my Christian English teacher's responsibility. No, I love Jesus, and I have friends that I want to see go to heaven, so they are my responsibility. They are not going to hell on my watch, and I'm in the same space with them for a limited amount of time, and while I am sharing that space with them, I am going to tell them about Jesus, right? And then you have aim. Not only am I going to tell people here about Jesus, but dang it, I'm going to go fly across the ocean, and I am going to get out of my American bubble, and I am going to get uncomfortable, and I am going to tell people about Jesus. And look, I know the missionary is the one that's there, that's doing the brunt of the work, right. And the indigenous people there that are being discipled to take the church are the ones that are doing the brunt of the work. But missions trips are still powerful. Yes, you're only there for a week or 2 weeks or a month, but it's so much more about what God is doing in you as a Christian, seeing what's going on the other side of the world, really than the impact you are making when you go there. It might be slight. It's still something. God can do something with very little. And then you give to Speed the Light with your money. You let go of the thing that you can use to better your life or to make yourself more comfortable or to give you temporary satisfaction. And you say, no, my temporary satisfaction is not nearly as important as that person's eternal soul. Yeah. Right? And so that's kind of the heart. Like, I mean, man, you really got me rambling about this.
But that was good.
So,
and my heart over the next month or two in February and March is to be sharing content on ISM's YouTube and podcast platform and everything else that we do on social media, sharing the students of missionaries and students who are killing it for missions.
Yeah.
Because the biggest thing, because when I was a teenager, I did jack squat for Speed the Light. I didn't.
Yeah, me too, because I didn't know about it.
Right, and I knew about it. I just put
Yeah.
in minimal effort because I was never challenged and I was never shown what could be possible.
Yeah, right.
And so my heart by sharing stories of students like you guys is this is what's possible when you figure out what your talents are and you're willing to put in the work of spreading the word about what you're doing to raise money for missions and actually fulfilling that promise that you made to all those people who are giving you money either to buy your duct tape wallets or to see you do whatever stunt that you want to perform for missions.
Right.
So every year in the spring, we do some sort of missions tour, some sort of Speed the Light tour. What does that look like in 2021?
Yeah, this year it's going to be just a little bit different. We're not going to do our traditional Speed the Light tour where I go to like different parts of the state and then all the youth groups come together and we buy you pizza and you turn in pledge cards and all of that stuff. I think that's good, but in the context of 2021 and the coronavirus and all the stuff that's happening, we're just going to kind of employ a little bit of a different strategy. So youth pastors, children's pastors, if you're watching this right now, in March, we are going to be setting up a regional tour where we're going to be going to between 4 and 8 places. And I'm going to be buying dinner, and I want you to come. I want you to come to the church that we announce and just be paying attention to our website, to social media, because we're going to be announcing the times and the locations and the dates very, very quickly. But I want to bring you guys in. We're going to feed you, and then we're going to talk shop about missions and what you can do, practical strategies that you can have to equip your students to own Speed the Light in your youth ministry. I want to release you of the burden of being just another fundraising youth pastor. I want to release you. Like if you want to do a car wash and help them out, if you want to do a banquet and help them out, praise God for that. But the youth pastor that's doing the majority of the setup work for the fundraiser, I think is, and I mean this with all love, missing a great opportunity for discipleship.
Right.
So what we want to do is we want to teach you guys how to create an ownership for Speed the Light in your youth ministry, turning individual students into young entrepreneurs with their goal being to raise money for missions. And I mean, it's really great. We have 300 churches in the district. Some give to Speed the Light, some don't. But again, I'm not trying to raise up missional churches,
right.
and I am at the end of the day. So don't take that the wrong way. As much as I'm trying to raise up missions-focused givers in the student bodies across Illinois, no matter what church they go to, we may not be known for having the most money raised in this district, but we will certainly, and I am calling my shot right here and now, have the most givers. We're going to be able to tell the most stories.
Yeah.
We're going to be able to be the ones that are going to be like, oh, look at this kid who did this. Look at this kid who did this. And there is going to be a culture of generosity that is fueled by the student body. Why? Because Speed the Light is a student-driven missions initiative. Stop setting goals and letting your youth pastors and your church pay your bills. You students are the ones who called your shot. Now we're going to teach you how to take your shot. And pastors, we want to equip you to motivate your students to be the ones that do that. I want to release you from the banquets. I want to release you from the car washes. If you still want to do those, praise God, we're not going to say no to your money. But I think when your students own it and say, I started a dog walking business, I started a deck painting business, I shot 1,000 free throws, I walked for 12 hours, I played hopscotch. Does anybody play hopscotch anymore?
Somebody's out there.
Somebody is out there that can play hopscotch for Jesus. You know what I mean? And we want to empower you with that. So students, I talk to the pastors, now students, I'm going to talk to you. One of the things that we are looking for from you is stories and ideas. Our office is going to put together a thought catalog, and we're going to put it in an actual physical book. And it's going to have your faces, it's going to have your stories, and it's going to have your ideas. Would you be willing to submit on a jot form link that we're going to create for you guys an idea that other students across the state can steal from you or be inspired by to our office? We want you guys to follow this link. You can submit your picture. You can submit your idea. Just follow the instructions and say, hey, you know what? I made these duct tape wallets for Speed the Light. I created these journals for Speed the Light. Here's the materials that I used. Here's how much I sold them for. Here's how much I made for Speed the Light. We did this thing where we did longboarding. We longboarded 100 miles up and down the Mississippi River for Speed the Light. Here's how we organized that. Here's what we would do differently. Here's how we ask people to give, and you can do it too, right? So we're looking for those stories those moments of creativity that we can put into a thought catalog that will be in every youth ministry across the Illinois district, so that students can see your testimony, can see your story, and get inspired and be like, you know what? I can do that too. What if your fundraiser is the thing that inspires another student to raise $1,000 or $2,000 for Speed the Light? You guys could raise more money than you ever have for Speed the Light. You just need to be comfortable with your name not being attached to every dollar.
Right.
And I think there's power in that, right? So we want your ideas. We're going to put them in a thought catalog. Pastors, we're going to be coming out in March. We're going to be doing a missions tour. We're going to be inspiring. We're going to be talking to you about all of these initiatives. I'm working very closely with other youth pastors in our state, so that we can create kind of like a missions committee. Students, we're going to be reaching out to some of you as well, and we're going to be starting up a missions kind of committee that's led by students as well. And we're really going to start dreaming big for what God can do to raise more givers in this state than we have ever raised before. And I'm excited about it.